presented by lisacamille.com, which is a blog about my dating life. I am single, I'm celibate, and I live in Sydney, Australia. Although, as you might be able to tell, I'm actually originally from Jamaica. I'm a very proud Jamaican. So when I tell people that I'm celibate, right, they often assume that it's because I'm Christian. And I am Christian. I love the fact that I have a relationship with Jesus, and it's a very important part of my life. And but surprisingly though, I didn't choose to be celibate because I was Christian. I actually chose to be celibate first because sex in my dating life was just not working for me. So I cut it out, and I'm so much happier since then, and because of that. And actually my groundedness in my faith came during my experience, during my celibacy. So they're connected, but yeah. So I get asked this question a lot because I'm single and I'm celibate and Christian. People ask me, so why are you like using dating apps, or why are you meeting men out, trying to meet men just out generally? Why are you not trying to date a man in church, at your church? And I go, but if a man in church had asked me out, like, yeah, I would be dating, maybe I would be dating him, but that's never ever happened to me, right? I feel that the reason why it hasn't happened is because the men in church are not very confident, right? They are shy. They lack confidence and the courage to actually step up and ask a woman on a date. Now for me, this was just a theory, just observing the men that go to my church. Now ladies, if you're a Christian and you regularly attend a church, please give me some feedback in the comments section of this video. Am I by myself? Is it just my church? Is it just an Australian church thing, right? Because I also think that the Australian culture in itself, I think that the confidence levels in the men in Australia is lower than, well, definitely lower than compared to where I'm come from in Jamaica. Although it's kind of hard to compare them Australian men to Jamaican men, because Jamaican men are very virile and overconfident. So I guess, but that's why it's interesting for me to observe, right? Coming from Jamaica and coming into this scenario where it seems that the men just are not capable or don't have the confidence to step up and be brave and ballsy and just say to a girl at a check-in, hey, would you like to, as simple as would you like to have a coffee, have a drink, it's not that they're proposing marriage. So I had this as a theory, right, in my head, but it actually became more than a theory when I had a conversation with two single Australian guys at a social event that my church organized just this past week, right? I sat with these two men, separate conversations. I spoke to each of them individually for about 45 minutes. This was not an interrogation or an interview. This was just a casual chat at a social event, and we were talking about dating and celibacy and being Christian and dating. And I asked the guys, came up in conversation, said, so why is it that, like, why don't you invite girls out on dates? Or why don't you think that more guys invite girls out on dates in the church? And they both gave me the same answers. They said that, they feel, the rejection that they get when the girls say no is really hard to deal with. And the girls can be, both of them said this, girls can be really mean, in how they turn a guy down, and so it makes them really fearful of actually coming out and actually trying it again. And I was like, you guys need to go to Jamaica and learn some manhood 101, right? Because Jamaican men is like, if you turn them down, it's like fuel for the fire. Them get even more revved up, right? So to me, this is like an alien concept. A man is deterred by you turning him down to the fact that to the point where he won't ask another girl, not even ask you again. I can understand if they say, I wouldn't ask that girl again, but to not ask any girls out because you got rejected and it didn't feel good? Come on, man. Please. So this is why I don't date a guy. I don't date a guy in church, because I'm a very outspoken, very strong woman, and I need a confident man. And if you don't, I'm not going to approach you unless I'm really checking you. Then maybe I might think about it. But I probably won't. If a guy is checking me, I will see him. You know, it's just sometimes you're not even conscious of who is there. But if a man approaches you, that's when you'd be like, oh, hey, you know, that's a different conversation. So I was surprised, but I was surprised that my theory was actually true. My real query to them was why they don't ask a girl, and the core answer that I got was fear and a lack of a willingness and a lack of and an inability to really conquer that. They want to date, they want to have a girl in their life, but they are too afraid to actually ask. And I'm sorry, I cannot date a man who is going to rely on me to ask him out, to have the courage for him. My world is not that somebody like that I would have to do that for is not a match for me. So I'm happy to leave the Christian guys alone. The Christian guys that are in my church. Yes, I want to be equally yoked, but just because I know that I want a Christian man and will marry and want to marry a Christian husband, doesn't mean I have to find him in my church, or that it has to be an Australian man in my church, or you know. So I'm open to dating generally, because I might find a Christian man, you know, in another way, who has a different cultural and psychological mindset, and has a different level of confidence and clarity. And that's what I need. And that is why I don't date guys in my church. Not because I don't want to, because they don't damn well ask me. And to exemplify exactly that very thing, you know, I sat and spoke to both of those guys. Now, both of those guys are in their 30s, single guys. I had separate conversations with them, just casual chatting. It wasn't like an interrogation, anything formal. So we're just having a conversation about this stuff. And you know, at the end of that time, neither of them asked me for a date. And you could see that, you know, I'm not scary. I wasn't going to diss them. You know, they had been speaking to me for a good length of time. And you would think that would have, you know, warmed them up to get to the point where they felt comfortable enough to do it, right? Maybe they weren't interested. You know, that's also another possibility. But it was just really strange that, like, wow, we had this whole conversation about you asking a girl on a date, and you sat with a girl and you didn't ask her on a date at the end of that conversation. It was like the perfect setting. So, sorry. Guys that go to my church, y'all need to step up. And Christian girls, please let me know. Is it just my church, or is this something that you're finding in your services as well? I'm really curious what's really happening out there. So subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories, and head to my blog, contentedbylisacamille.com, for more of my dating adventures.